Shabbat Shalom. These last 2 weeks have been really hard. They've been heavy. The news from Israel, Gaza, it's overwhelming. The amount of human suffering that began with Hamas's terrorist attack on October 7th defies comprehension. And I know many of us fear things will get worse before they get better. With the news of the world so hard to bear, I'm reminded of a conversation I had with my teacher, Rabbi Brad Artson, back when I was in rabbinical school. It was a morning much like the mornings of these past 2 weeks. The news of the world seemed unbearable. And I happened to arrive in the Beit Midrash early, before services, and I found that Rabbi Artson and I were the only ones in the room. Looking at him, I saw he too felt this unbearable heaviness that had been weighing me down. We talked for a moment about the situation and our fears that things were going to get worse before they got better. And then he said something to me I'll never forget. He said, "Nathan, do you have any words of wisdom for me?" I was not prepared for that question. On the verge of tears, I said, "Rabbi, I was hoping you would be the one to help us find wisdom today." And I think after that, we just spent a few moments in silence. Other students and teachers arrived, and we prayed the morning prayers, praising God. Lunch that day happened to be Rabbi Artson's monthly Q&A session with the rabbinical students, and he did have wisdom for us that afternoon. But these past 2 weeks, I feel I understand better what Rabbi Artson was feeling when he asked me for wisdom. I've been asked for wisdom, and I feel I'm the one who desperately needs it. I'm not a pundit. I don't have expertise in politics or war. So what can I say that will speak to this moment? And then I remember who I was back in Ziegler at that Beit Midrash that morning. I was looking for wisdom not from a pundit, not from a political scientist or a general, but from my rabbi. A person entrusted with the sacred task of mining the depths of our tradition for the teachings needed at the moment, of finding the Torah that we need to learn. And so humbly I stand here today, and I will try. The first thing that occurred in our triennial reading of the Parshat is God commanding Noah to leave the ark. Vayidaber Elohim el Noach lemor tzeh min hateva. And God spoke to Noah saying, "Come out of the ark." I imagine this was a hard commandment for Noah to follow. The ark had been the thing that had provided Noah, his family, all the animals, safety through 370 or so days. It's scary to leave and go back out into the wider world. And the ark wasn't just a place of safety. It was a place where everyone and everything was unified. We see in the first verses again and again this word, itcha, or itach, or ito, with you, with him. Noah's family and the animals were all together in the ark. So the ark is a place of safety, a place of refuge, and it's a place of unity. It's understandable a person might want to stay there forever. But here, God commands Noah and his family and all the animals to leave. so they can once again spread out over the earth. It's interesting to note that the name of God that is used when God gives this commandment to Noah is Elohim, not the tetragrammaton that we substitute with the word Adonai. However, in an earlier part of this week's Parshat, Genesis 7:1, we read, Vayomer Adonai leNoach bo atah v'chol beitcha el hateva. Adonai said to Noah, go into the ark with your household. So God, called Adonai, tells Noah to enter the ark. And God, called Elohim, tells Noah to leave the ark. The Zohar makes it clear that this is significant, as these two names represent different aspects of God. Adonai representing God's attribute of chesed, of loving kindness, compassion, and mercy, while Elohim represents God's gevura, God's power, God's justice. So mercy invites Noah into the ark, and justice sends him out of the ark, telling him to return to the world. But this justice, this divine justice that commands Noah to leave the ark, is different from the divine justice that decided to destroy all flesh through the flood. That was a pure, unadulterated form of justice, and it led to a near complete destruction of the world. Mercy invited Noah and his family into the ark to save humanity, to save the animals, and to weather the storm. And now, a year later, justice has been tempered by this mercy. God says that human nature still has evil in it. But despite that, God will not again destroy the world. There will be cycles of violence. Human beings shall shed blood, and in turn, their blood will be shed. The world will not be perfect, but the human beings are called to work towards an imperfect justice. In Pirkei Avot, Rabbi Hillel sees a human skull floating in water. And he says to the skull, because you drowned others, you have been drowned. And in turn, those who drowned you will be drowned. This is the world that we came out of the ark to encounter. But we are not to desist from the work. As Hillel also says, that we are to be the disciples of Aaron, loving peace and pursuing peace. The cycles continue again and again. As it says poetically, there will be dark and light, night and day, summer, winter. It continues and continues, and yet we must do the work. And the sign of this covenant, the sign of this imperfect covenant, is the rainbow. Covenant of justice tempered by mercy. We often see the rainbow. I don't know about you, but generally I think people think of hope when they see the rainbow. The rabbinic tradition sees it a little bit differently. Because the rainbow is a sign that the world deserves to be destroyed, but won't be. There's a story that when the righteous man, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, entered paradise, a great rabbi of a previous generation, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, came out to greet him. Are you the son of Levi? He asked. I am, he replied. Did you ever see a rainbow? Rabbi Shimon said, yes. So Rabbi Shimon then said, you can't be the son of Levi. Because the understanding is a truly righteous person would never see a rainbow, because the rainbow is that sign of human moral failure and divine mercy. A truly righteous person would be able to live in a world of strict justice where there would be no need for a rainbow. The story then concludes by saying that in truth, Rabbi Yeshua had never ever seen a rainbow, but he was being modest. So the rainbow, it's a symbol of our imperfect world. And as Rabbi Meir Soloveitchik wrote for this week's Parsha, in his Parsha and Politics newsletter, he wrote, "Without darkness, there would be no rainbow. It is only in a world of both sun and cloud, of both light and dark, that its dazzling display is possible. The symbolism can now be understood. Through the emergence of the rainbow in the midst of the cloud, God communicates that despite the human propensity for sin, the world will not be destroyed again." I think the rainbow is also an appropriate symbol for this covenant as Noah leaves the ark, because it shows that the unity that was found within the ark, while necessary at that time, is not the ideal moving forward. Because rainbows are created with the refraction of light, breaking apart into different wavelengths, separating from the pure white that comes when they're all unified. So just as the descendants of Noah will emerge from the unity they found in the ark and split into the various nations, the rainbow splits into the various colors that we see. And the world is richer for it, even if we may feel nostalgia for that unity. The rainbow is a symbol of our imperfect, beautiful world. So what does this have to say to us? Right now we're reeling. We just witnessed the largest massacre of Jews in a single day since the Holocaust. And we are all, at most, 2 degrees of separation of someone directly affected. Those who were murdered, wounded, kidnapped. So right now is a time to be in an ark. We need the safety. We need the unity. It's important, it's vital for us to come together. Now, the Hebrew word for ark, teva, also has another meaning. It can mean word, and from this double meaning, the Baal Shem Tov spoke of how Noah's ark represents words of prayer or words of Torah. So it's time for us to truly enter into the teva, to seek comfort, support, unity, together with words of prayer, words of comfort, words of Torah. And I think when we look at the words of Torah that were chanted today, we find this essential message. Because yes, we are in the ark right now. But a time will come when we are going to need to exit it. And as we leave the ark, we will find, like Noah did, this imperfect world where we will nevertheless be commanded to pursue justice, albeit an imperfect one. The days and the weeks to come are going to bring with them difficult questions for us and for Israel. And as we seek answers, as we try to discern the best path forward towards a truly lasting peace, we will see the unity of the ark replaced with the differences represented by the rainbow. And I pray that in these difficult days ahead, we will be able to see all of these colors, even the color that we're not shining at this moment. We'll be able to see all of them as coming from the same light, just as we are all part of the same human family. So years ago, Rabbi Artson asked me if I had words of wisdom for him, and I didn't have any. But that afternoon, after his Q&A, I told him that he had given us wisdom and brought us comfort. And he said that I too had brought him comfort just by being me. I don't know if I have any words of wisdom. I tried. But what I can say, I'm here, and I hope my presence brings you comfort, like your presence brings comfort to me. Because we are together here in the ark for now. And the time will come for us to leave the ark together, separating like the waves of light through a prism. in our unity and in our differences, may we continue to provide each other with comfort and with peace. Shabbat Shalom.